What's the minimum list of documents you need to get before you depart the United States? Welcome to AWM, and we're talking about what documents do you need to move abroad. So you don't want to make this mistake. We return to the United States for an important document. So what's the minimum list of documents you need to get before you depart the United States? First off, we need to talk about an apostille. Then we'll get to our list of minimum documents that you need. And you're probably asking, what is an apostille? So we're going to put up a definition on the screen, but it's basically an international means of showing notarization. It's not a notary though, but an international type of notary that is recognized by countries that participate in what I guess we would call the Hague Convention, okay? And so that's what an apostille does. It then shows that the document you provided is welcomed by select countries, okay? The question is, how do you know if you need an apostille? What you want to do is you want to check your target country to see if they require one. The countries we went to, they did not require an apostille.
Yeah.
That includes Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, for example. That does not mean all African countries do not require one. We did not say that. For example, Namibia does require one, just as an example. So check your target country against this list. And it's a fairly long list, so we'll leave that up there, or you can rewind the video so you're able to take a look at what is possibly a country that may require it. And then we'll also put up a list of countries that currently do not require the apostille. You might be asking, well, how much does an apostille cost? Well, that depends. I mean, it's going to be different rates, just like a notary is different costs depending on who's doing it and whether or not it's in person, virtual, or whatever. Yeah. But I guess you can plan on anywhere from like $175, $200 to like $500. You may need something expedited. They may include services that include photocopying, that include getting the document certified. Is it operating from the county, from the state, from the like federal level?
Right.
Those are some of the things that consider. And there are services that you can go online, check, and they'll do those types of services for you. So now we're going to talk about our list of documents that we recommend that you consider. And this is important because if you're trying to, people talk about a go bag.
Yeah.
And a go bag is that thing that you have, for example, if there is like a natural disaster, and a go bag might be a big military type backpack or something, and let's say it includes a first aid kit.
Right. Batteries, it could be, particular radio, it could be a little cooking stove, it could be those things for, medical, things like that. So.
And the purpose of it is so that you are ready to go if something pops off. All right. So let's think of this list of documents in that type of manner. In other words, a portfolio of documents that you've already gotten them prepared, you've already gotten them organized so that if you need to rush out, you will be ready to go and you won't have to come back like we did to get a particular document. So let's go on through the list. All right, so what's first on the list, Marlene?
Birth certificate. That's very important. I know a lot of us are all various ages. We've lived in different environments. Maybe our background is kind of different, and keeping that available. Sometimes people don't even think about it. They might say, oh, my mother has it, or somebody else in the family. I don't know where it is. You really want to make sure you have that birth certificate, and it has to have a seal on it, and it can't be a photocopy because it needs to be the original. So that's important that they know that it's a legal document and that has your name and everything, where were you born and everything like that. So that's very important that you bring that document when you come.
I want to make a comment, and you all can laugh at me. I mean, feel free. I mean, I'm sure you do anyway. When she says sealed, they need a raised seal. Now, this is something that I had done many decades ago before we were even married. So it was a long time ago. And I was traveling to the Bahamas, and they wanted a copy of the birth certificate on the list of documents. And what I did was I took it over to the machine called a Xerox machine and made a photocopy. That is not what they mean. And the customs agent said to me, next time you come to this country, you make sure you have the raised seal. And he let me through. So that's just a little humorous note there. But yeah, I actually did that. They did let me in the country though. So we got what? Marriage certificate, death certificate kind of a thing here. So on the marriage certificate, this could be key because you got to shift your thinking. So in the United States, women are independent, whereas you may visit a country, and in that particular country, the custom may be that the wife is a dependent of the husband. So, and she may be listed as such. For example, we've been in countries where my wife is listed as a resident of the country, but a dependent to me. And so that marriage certificate becomes important to have because it's the documentation for our marriage, and it indicates such. Now, if your country, so this doesn't have to deal with the apostille list of countries. This is more like the target country you're going to. What are the customs of that country? Is your wife considered an independent individual, or is she considered a dependent with you? That kind of a thing is what comes to mind. When I mention death certificate, that's an additional item, because think about it. If you are traveling and another country is not going to recognize another country's death certificate. So you may have, I don't know, a situation where there's an urn that you're going to transport or a casket or something. And yes, we have become aware of individuals, expats who have transitioned on. And so if there's need to be movement of the remains, then you're going to need to have that death certificate apostilled. And you also want to have that death certificate, if you think about it in terms of life insurance, and those kinds of payouts and things like that. So you want to have that in your hands.
Right. And the next thing is documentation of taking a child under 18 out of the country if you are divorced. A lot of people may not think about that, but that's really key, especially if you're divorced, because you need to have the permission of the other spouse. And a lot of times they have a written document where the person has signed that they're aware you're taking their child somewhere, and they have signed it, and they have detailed things. Maybe they have medical things on there. They have different things about the child that you would need to know. You know, the child has to have a passport and things like that. But that is very, very important, because they're thinking if you just take this child away and something happens, they're like, how is this? What's your relation to this child? They don't know if maybe you abducted the child or there was some dispute with the spouse or something. So it's very important that you have that legal documentation of a letter or something that the former spouse has given, so that everything is okay, smooth traveling with your child. So that's very, very important.
And that's important from our experience, even if you're not divorced, because it just occurred to me when we agreed I would do father and son trips with our 4 sons. So each of the 4 sons picked a country somewhere in the world, and they went there. The purpose of that was so that we were both in an environment that we did not know. And so we would bond and have a good time. And it was great. You know, we've been places like Bermuda or Japan, whatever. But the point is, you still, if the child is under 18 years of age, I still need that documentation to be able to carry with me. Right. And you want it to be readily accepted by another country.
Right. And the next thing is FBI or police clearance. This will show that you don't have any outstanding crimes. They want to make sure you're coming into their country and there's nothing, bogus or
Right, yeah.
illegal about you coming into their country. If you've done something, you're leaving. Because I know in the States sometimes people go from state to state because they committed something, a car accident, whatever. So they want to make sure when you're coming to their country that everything is okay. And I know when we first came to the first country we came to, we didn't need that. It wasn't something that you needed. But then when we came to Tanzania, we found that we were going to be needing that. So we'd gone back to the States. We were able to get that taken care of. It was real easy to do, inexpensive. And we had the documentation so we could bring that, because it's important when we're doing our requirement for residency or any other thing that you may be doing, that they would need to know that information. So we were glad that we were able to do that. We didn't need it before, but then we found we did need it. So that could be a situation for anyone that's going to a different country. You want to make sure what is it is, if you need that before you go.
It is a common practice. It's not unusual at all. Just like it's a common practice for a country to require you to have 6 months on your passport remaining before it expires, or blank pages in your passport. So, but they're two different things, the police clearance and then the FBI check. So you go to a local police station and I don't know, you pay $17, $20, whatever it is, some minimal amount, and they're going to take your fingerprints. Now, you can do them yourself, but if you do that, you might want to send multiple copies of all the fingerprints just in case you smudged or messed something up. That's the nice thing about being at the police station. They're going to give you quality first go through fingerprints that you can then submit to the FBI. And we did that and got that taken care of pretty quickly. And you can get that, you can get that done easily. Next one, bank statements. So for bank statements, what you're basically demonstrating to a country of interest, and this is probably pretty common on any country you're going to go to, is they want to make sure that you have the ability to take care of yourself financially. So when we say bank statements, we mean like maybe 3 months, 4 months, and it's showing that you have income coming in that you can sustain yourself.
Provide for yourself.
Yeah, provide for income, because otherwise you're going to become a dependent of their state, their country, and they're not really looking for that, okay? They're looking for someone who has the means and the wherewithal to invest or to be a part of their country and not drain their resources. So we got also, now check this out, we got proof of job, retirement, if you have degrees or certifications. What's that all about? All right. And yes, even if you're retired, because we're retired, and I needed a letter of retirement kind of a thing. And I'd never heard of a letter of retirement. It's just see ya and thanks for your service.
Yeah, you may have the paperwork that you did. Maybe there's some kind of, from last date, whatever you might have to fill out, but there wasn't like they gave you some letter.
No.
So that was interesting.
But we were able to work that out. But the point is, I do wish that I had known that or paid closer attention to that in advance, because it could have been something I could have worked out before I exited the United States. I could have gone to the Office of Personnel Management and worked something out, because I did write to them from here, but they weren't connecting because it didn't make sense. It didn't jive in our culture, a letter of retirement. What these are documents that show who you are and the skill sets that you have, because it may be able to contribute back to the country. If I was running a country, I would definitely want some STEM people, some scientists, some technology people, some engineers, and I want some artists too, and things like that. But this is the documentation that you have credentials. And that includes your degrees and so forth, because you may find later on that you want to do even free consulting or volunteer work, or maybe you're going to do paid consulting. You need some kind of justification that you are who you say you are in terms of your skill sets and what you have. So therefore, the degrees, the certifications fit into that area also. So there you have it. that's our list. So we went through birth certificate, we did marriage certificate and death certificate. We did documentation to take your child under 18 out of the country. We did FBI/police clearance. We did bank statements, 3 to 4 months, proof of your skill set, whether it's retirement, degree, certification, those kinds of things. Put them all together in your document go bag.
Yes.
Get them done in advance. Oh, asterisk bonus, the police clearance FBI thing, a country may want you to have that within 6 months.
Right. The date is real important.
Yes. So you may not want to, if you know you're going in a year and it's January, you may want to wait till some period of time so that you have lead time left over on your clearance, and therefore you'll be good to go. All right.
Yeah.
So that's it. We ask that you do this, that you type in the comments MOVE, MOVE, if you're interested in moving abroad and you just like some more information, and we'll be able to work with you. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you.